Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Raghu Yarlagadda, co-founder of FalconX, to discuss the institutional crypto ecosystem and leveraging new technologies. Raghu, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thanks so much for having me, Jill.
All right, now tell us where FalconX fits in the institutional crypto ecosystem and how you leverage newer technologies like machine learning.
Absolutely. Let's talk about market structure, and then we can get into where FalconX sits within that market structure. So in terms of market structure, Jill, there have been a fundamental change since 2017, 2018. So in 2017, 2018, it was very difficult for institutions to navigate any digital asset, primarily because they were going to a credit shop, getting a long-term loan, then coming back to an exchange and trading on different exchanges. So as a result, the balance sheet efficiency was poor, the pricing was poor. Now, fast forward that to 2020, the market structure is looking very similar to how traditional finance looks, meaning with the advent of brokerages very similar to FalconX, what happened is institutions can navigate all of digital assets through one-stop shops like FalconX. Now, what that meant for institutions is, if you look at 2020 and where crypto is, it's predominantly the bull run is driven largely by institutions. And all of that happened because the market structure coalesced very, very well over the last 1 to 2 years through players like FalconX. Now, specific to your question, what is FalconX? FalconX is a one-stop shop for institutions. And for a diverse set of institutions, all the way from the world's largest hedge funds, asset managers, retail aggregators, to crypto native funds, what we do for them is we help them with their trading needs, credit needs, and clearing needs. Now, with regards to the fundamental technology that differentiates, on the trading, credit, and clearing, unlike the traditional world where you have regulators that are watching the market, because crypto markets are largely decentralized, what that means is we need to build a technology to actually clean up all the unreliable and bad pricing mechanisms underneath the market. So we use a lot of machine learning to filter out, unreliable pricing, and we learn on how that pricing could be cleaned up. And then we give it to our institutional customers in the form of trading and credit.
What differentiates the FalconX platform, and do you think the crypto market is becoming too fragmented?
That's a great question, Jill. Yes and no. In terms of the market infrastructure over the last 3 years, there's been a good consolidation at the market infrastructure layer through players like FalconX, which are acting like one-stop shops. Now, on the asset side of things, market is getting fragmented. Now, when I talk about assets, if you look at the Bitcoin dominance, it went from about 60% to about 40%. What that means is there are more assets than just the Bitcoin and Ethereum that institutions are excited about. Now, the fragmentation on the asset side, I think, is a feature, not a bug, Jill. By that, what I mean is because there's so many diverse assets that people can express their views on, that is leading to volatility, and volatility oftentimes is leading to better yield for a lot of market neutral traders. So in the regime where inflation is quite high, a lot of people are coming to digital assets because of the fragmentation of the assets for better yield generation. That's a big reason why institutions are coming into the space as well.
And FalconX just raised $210 million, which is fantastic for any company, but really quite exceptional in the crypto space. To serve as a crypto platform for institutional traders and banks, what will this latest round allow FalconX to do?
Yeah, we're incredibly fortunate to have built one of the most valuable institutional companies in a matter of 3 years. But we are really sitting on a megatrend, Jill. And the megatrend is, if you look at institutions coming into crypto, from the middle of 2020 to now, the number of institutions, the quality of institutions, and the size of institutions that are coming into crypto has been tremendous. Now, what started with some of the world's largest hedge funds allocating 0.5 or 1% of their AUM is now slowly getting to about 5% and 8% of their AUM. And because these institutions are coming in large numbers, we needed money to make sure that we scale our operations to serve these institutions. So in terms of how we're going to be using the funding, we're going to be deploying that in three form factors, Jill. First and foremost, scale the operations to serve the needs of these institutions. What started as a US-centric phenomena is now a global phenomena. So now we have to build scale 24/7 across the globe. The second thing is really deploying the engineering resources to make sure that we constantly build to what institutions want. Last but not the least is education. I still get a lot of questions in terms of what is Bitcoin? Is it here to stay? So we want to make sure that we have enough resources to educate institutions because we believe that's a much bigger trend that's in the making.
And Raghu, to wrap up here, what's next for FalconX?
Yeah, we're very excited, Jill. I mean, the reason why I jumped into digital assets, Jill, is I couldn't answer this fundamental question. The fundamental question is you're not okay with Google and Facebook working only 5 days a week. Although we have an outage on Facebook more recently, but more broadly, these services work 24/7. But if you look at a lot of your traditional financial services, they're geared up to work only 5 days a week. How can the modern financial infrastructure work just 5 days a week and very siloed geographically? So one of the things that we're super excited at FalconX is we want to take the power of crypto and more broadly the power of tokenization to truly make a lot of traditional asset classes 24/7, truly global and truly elastic. And if you do that, we want to be the Amazon Web Services for the financial world. Literally, if you're a hedge fund coming into crypto or digital assets, we want to make sure that all you need to think is like alpha and everything else with regards to connectivity to venues, credit, and scaling your balance sheet for any asset class on the planet. We got that for you. So we're really excited, but that's definitely a tall order.
All right, Raghu, we appreciate the insight. Great to have you on Trade Talks. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.